wants to push forward. Well, what better way to do that than to go to these countries and sort of test run how the business could go if they expand into Australia? I think nothing has been confirmed, but certainly it feels like that's the mood music.
And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
What was meant to be a major moment for Meghan Markle has suddenly taken a dramatic turn. Just days before her Australia trip, a private email leaked out, and it revealed behind-the-scenes details that were never supposed to go public. That email reportedly exposed behind-the-scenes info about an event tied to her visit. Now, insiders are saying Meghan is feeling serious pressure about what could drop next, because once one leak happens, people start digging deeper. What else is out there? What hasn't come out yet? And the timing? Terrible! This trip was supposed to boost her image and spotlight her latest moves. Instead, the whole online conversation flipped, with people now questioning transparency, luxury vibes, and what this event really stands for. The attention shifted, and not in a good way. Reports, including claims highlighted by Sky News Australia, say the email came from internal planning for a women-focused retreat linked to Meghan's appearance. Once that message hit the public, everything sped up fast. The email allegedly included planning notes, logistics, and insider-only details. But once info like that hits the internet, things spiral quick. People start connecting dots, whether they're right or not. Leaks in celebrity circles happen, sure. But this one hit different. The reaction has been louder, sharper, and way more intense. Because this didn't just expose plans, it made people question the event itself. And that's where things got tricky.
No, can I just tell you that Australia has tackled illegal immigration very successfully. And I think given the fact that Harry and Meghan are on their way, I think it's time to reactivate Operation Sovereign Borders, Paul. Just, airstrikes, get the boats out. Because no, the bottom line is, I mean, I can't speak for your viewers, but I will tell you that lots of Australian viewers of the Mark Dolan show don't want to see Harry and Meghan. The reason why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her.
The event is being promoted as a luxury women's retreat focused on empowerment, networking, and growth. Sounds inspiring on paper, but now people are looking at it way more closely. But as the story spread, critics locked onto one detail, and that's when everything shifted fast. The ticket prices suddenly became the main focus, and people were not quiet about it. Reports say attending this retreat could cost thousands of Australian dollars, and that number had people talking instantly. Supporters say that kind of price makes sense with celebrity appearances, exclusive access, and luxury locations. But critics are not convinced, and they're speaking up loud. For many, this raised a bigger question that's hard to ignore. If this event is about empowerment and opportunity, why does it seem designed for a small group of wealthy guests? That question hit social media hard, with comment sections filling up fast and opinions coming from every direction.
Actually on that royal tour back in 2018, and the optics for us at that time, because we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, and to Tom Bauer's book, I mean, these are the claims that he's talking about. It's the lead up to Megxit. But for us as journalists and members of the public seeing that tour, it looked like a huge success. There were thousands of people greeting them everywhere. They were so popular at that time. It felt like this really huge moment for them and a really exciting moment for the monarchy. Now, as we know, that wasn't how they felt about it behind the scenes. And, 18 months later, they had left the royal family.
Just when things were already tense, another wave of curiosity pushed the drama even further. More voices jumped in, and suddenly a new question started taking over the conversation. Now the big question sounds simple, but it carries weight. Was the email leak really an accident, or did someone let it slip on purpose? There's no proof either way, but that hasn't stopped non-stop speculation. In celebrity and royal talk, even the smallest mystery can explode overnight. Some observers say this situation could overshadow the real purpose of the trip, and that's a major shift. Others point out this reflects a long-running issue, the gap between public messaging and how people actually see things. Supporters highlight her advocacy work and charity efforts. Critics, meanwhile, are focused on what they see as mixed signals, especially when those messages connect to high-end experiences like this.
But apparently Australia holds a special place in the handlers' minds, because somehow they think Australia has been kinder to the formers than anywhere else. I'm pretty sure Australia's not massive fan.
And that tension is exactly why this leak is pulling so much attention right now. For many watching, it feels like a rare look behind closed doors, with private details suddenly out in the open. People want to know what really happens behind the scenes at events like this, but that email is just one piece of the puzzle, and the bigger conversation is only getting louder. Another reason this story is growing fast is the location, and that adds a whole new layer. Australia isn't just another stop for Meghan and Prince Harry. It carries real history and people haven't forgotten. In 2018, right after their wedding, the couple toured Australia, and it was seen as a huge success. Massive crowds showed up, the energy was high, and media coverage was extremely positive. Some even called it one of the most successful royal tours in years, and the attention around them was everywhere. Now compare that to today, and the shift is hard to miss. Since stepping back from royal duties and moving to the United States, they've taken a completely different path with media projects, documentaries, and independent deals. Some moves brought praise, but others sparked strong debate across media and online spaces. Because of that complicated journey, every public appearance now faces intense scrutiny, and this moment is no different. All eyes are watching closely, questioning every detail. And that brings everything back to this Australia trip. If this visit was meant to reset the narrative, that leaked email may have already changed the story in a big way.
So there is that aspect of it where they want to come here and I guess just sort of launch this new phase of their career. But at the same time, it will, of course, invite comparisons to that trip back in 2018 when there were thousands of people out to meet them. And now you're looking at situations where they're selling tickets for events. So Meghan will be doing this.
Instead of excitement, the conversation is now filled with questions coming from every direction. People are questioning the event, they're questioning transparency, and they're asking if this could turn into something even bigger. But here's where things take another sharp turn, and insiders are paying attention. Some say the biggest concern isn't even the email that already leaked. The real tension is about what might come next. If more emails or planning details suddenly surface, this situation could escalate fast and pull even more attention overnight. As the leak spread across social media and news platforms, one detail started grabbing even more focus. And that says a lot. The spotlight quickly shifted to the exclusive women's retreat Meghan is expected to attend during her Australia visit.
I just think this is another Montecito money grab. As you rightly mentioned, I mean, the Netflix deal has been cancelled. These two just won't give up, and they're just desperate for this relevance. They've got relevance deprivation.
The event is being promoted as a high-end experience focused on empowerment, networking, and personal growth. On the surface, it sounds polished and inspiring, something meant to bring ambitious women together. But the second people saw the price tag, everything flipped fast. Reports online suggest tickets could reach thousands of Australian dollars, and that number alone sent social media into overdrive. Reactions came in quick, loud, and non-stop. Many started asking one sharp question: is this really about empowerment and access, or is it built mainly for a wealthy circle? That question spread fast, taking over timelines and filling comment sections instantly. Some users wrote, "How empowering can a retreat be if only the richest women can attend?" Others said, "Meghan talks about inclusivity, yet this is outrageously expensive." And another comment that kept popping up was, "This is starting to look more like a celebrity vacation than a serious event." These reactions highlight something that has followed Meghan for years: the gap between how her message is presented and how some people receive it. And right now, that gap is front and center again.
Thankfully, Meghan Markle grew up in Hollywood, where hiring extras or seat fillers is a go-to to avoid looking like you failed miserably at something. So who knows, there might not be an empty seat in the house. But honestly, who would pay $3,000 for quotes like, "You have to anchor yourself in your own knowing," or "My bacon brings all the boys to the yard"? I would pay $3,000 for a grifter's guide to making millions off of Netflix and Spotify while doing the bare minimum. I would definitely pay $3,000 for a lesson on how to trap a prince. But that's not what these ladies will get. They'll get Meghan transferring one bag of pretzels into another bag.
For many watching, the mix of this luxury retreat and the leaked emails feels like another example of that ongoing tension, and it explains why this story keeps growing. Supporters are stepping in, arguing that high-profile events like this help attract attention, influential guests, and real support for important causes. From their view, the luxury setting is part of the strategy, not the problem. But critics see it differently, and they're not staying quiet. To them, events with prices this high feel disconnected from ideas like accessibility and empowerment. That contrast is driving a huge part of the debate right now, and it doesn't end with ticket prices. Reports also claim the leaked email revealed behind-the-scenes details about Meghan's schedule, travel plans, and even some of the people expected to attend or meet her during the visit.
So, there is a brand new book which is all in and around Meghan Markle being able to brainwash Harry. Do you buy it? Do you believe it? Or is it just a way to sell some paperbacks?
Well, listen, Tom Bauer is one of the most feared biographers in the world, and he's gone after Richard Branson, Tony Blair, and of course, Meghan Markle. None of those people have successfully sued him because, like you, Paul, he's an elite level journalist who checks his facts. And don't forget that these publishing companies are not stupid. They're not going to publish things that aren't true because they know they'll wind up in.
On their own, none of these details seem shocking. This is exactly the kind of planning you'd expect for a major public appearance with a high-profile name. But the moment private information goes public, everything changes, and curiosity jumps instantly. That's when speculation takes off, and it spreads fast. Media outlets wasted no time diving in, breaking down every angle and searching for deeper meaning behind the leak. News organizations across different countries started analyzing not just what the email said, but what it might reveal about Meghan's planning style, priorities, and overall strategy for public events. Some reports stayed neutral, sticking to the facts, but others came in with a sharper edge, suggesting the leak raises bigger questions about how this entire trip is being handled and whether there's more going on behind the scenes.
The royal family 6 years ago, and we have seen even just the fact their Netflix deal was downgraded, although that's not how they have said it, but it is. These sorts of things, I mean, their value has changed, and that is a very expensive ticket. I will say one thing on a personal note, when I saw that $3,000 doesn't get you an individual photo with Meghan, I thought, well, I'd be pretty upset.
Yes.
if I'm going to pay that kind of money to attend this event, presumably just to hear her speak and be in proximity to her, I want a selfie with the
Online reactions show a clear divide. Some people continue to support Meghan, pointing to her work, causes, and past projects. Others are watching more critically, questioning how everything connects, and that split is getting louder. A large group of critics remain unconvinced, and every new detail only adds to that skepticism. Each leak or insider reveal pulls more attention, and people are watching closely. Even before this email situation, critics were already following Meghan's post-royal moves step by step. Her media deals, interviews, documentaries, and appearances have all triggered strong reactions, some positive, others very critical. Some projects brought major attention and praise, while others faced mixed responses or strong pushback. Now, with this email spreading everywhere, the narrative is shifting again, and it's not subtle. A big question is getting louder online. Can any public appearance involving Meghan avoid intense scrutiny anymore? Right now, every move seems to come with analysis, debate, and non-stop speculation. The timing makes it even more intense. This Australia trip was meant to highlight key engagements, promote her initiatives, and strengthen her global presence. That was the plan. Instead, the leaked email has taken over the spotlight completely. Headlines are pulling focus away from the trip's purpose, and the online reaction hasn't slowed down at all. Social media is packed with opinions. Some posts say, Meghan seems more concerned with exclusivity than empowerment. Another asks, another email leak? How many more details will come out? And one user wrote, this Australia trip is already a mess before it even starts. These reactions are coming in fast, showing just how divided public opinion has become. Some still support her goals, while others question every move.
Some figure, his book is called Betrayal. It contains some really juicy allegations, including claims that Queen Camilla, King Charles's wife, confided to a friend, Harry's been brainwashed by Meghan. Who could disagree? Since they got married, he suddenly hates his country, hates his family, hates being a royal, and goes off for a very boring life.
Right now, the conversation is split down the middle and getting louder by the minute. Even a simple logistical email can turn into a massive debate when every move is under a spotlight this intense. At the same time, the bigger picture of Meghan and Prince Harry's post-royal life is a huge reason this story is getting so much attention. Since stepping away from royal duties in 2020, they've been navigating a mix of media deals, charity work, business moves, and public appearances. Some of those moves brought major headlines and praise, while others triggered skepticism and strong criticism from all sides. Because of that history, this email leak doesn't stand alone. It instantly connects to a much bigger narrative people have been watching for years. Observers often point out that even small missteps, or what some see as contradictions, can quickly grow into major controversy. And with this trip already tied to luxury, exclusivity, and global attention, it was going to be watched closely even before the leak. Now, insiders say Meghan is very aware of the pressure surrounding the situation. Reports claim the leak has raised concerns about how things could be interpreted and whether more private details might come out later, because if more information surfaces, it could pull even more attention away from the trip's original purpose. And that's where things get even more intense. Sources suggest Meghan may now be quietly reviewing parts of the trip in response to everything happening. That could mean schedule adjustments, guest list changes, or small shifts to event details behind the scenes. And that leads to another big question people are asking. Will everything go exactly as planned, or will changes be made to avoid more controversy? With so many moving parts and the leak already spreading fast, no one really knows how this Australia trip will play out or what could come next. For those following closely, that uncertainty is what makes the story so gripping. Every update, every reaction, and every rumored change becomes part of a fast-moving situation. Because their post-royal journey has already been full of headlines, the stakes feel even higher now, with global attention locked in and watching every move.
About a year since With Love Meghan launched, and we had, 2 seasons of that and a one-off holiday special, and that's no more. So now really all of her eggs are very literally in the as ever basket, especially now she's going it alone without Netflix. So this all kind of feeds into this this image and this career she's trying to build for herself as sort of a Gwyneth Paltrow type, or just getting out there, and it's about lifestyle and self-help and all of those sorts of things. And it does fit.
As the countdown to the Australia trip continues, the pressure is building. Media, commentators, and audiences are all watching closely for the next twist. Everyone is asking the same thing. Will more details come out? Will plans shift? Or will everything stay on track? Right now, despite all the noise, the conversation is locked on 3 major points, and they're not fading anytime soon. The luxury retreat, the leaked email, and the wave of reactions flooding social media. But beyond those headlines, something bigger is building underneath. This is no longer just about one event. It's about Meghan's public image and what this moment could mean for everything that comes next. Put simply, this situation has become part of a much larger story. It connects to celebrity scrutiny, powerful media narratives, and the constant pressure of maintaining a public image in a world where anything can go viral in seconds. One email slips out, and suddenly millions are talking about it everywhere. Now, all that attention is shifting to the final piece, the Australia trip itself. The meaning behind Meghan and Harry returning there is massive, and the impact on both their personal and professional paths is hard to ignore. With the leak dominating headlines and the retreat facing heavy criticism online, all eyes are locked in. This visit is no longer just another appearance. It's starting to look like a defining moment. The trip carries multiple layers for Meghan and Prince Harry. It was meant to highlight her projects, promote the retreat, and strengthen their global presence. But with everything unfolding so publicly, the pressure is higher than ever, and what happens next could shape the narrative in a big way.
So it is now 7 years on, they're going to be coming back to Australia, but the landscape for them could not be more different. So as I mentioned earlier, I have had sources telling me that it's about coming back here for, there's 2 main reasons that were mentioned to me. And one is Harry's connection with friends that he's cultivated over the years in Australia. He has a lot of close friends here, particularly in the military community. Then he'll be looking to work in that space while he's here. And also for Meghan, as I said, she's at a very important point in this lifestyle company that she's running and trying to build this empire, because she has now split with.
For some observers, this even feels like a quiet return to places they once visited as senior royals, and that adds extra weight. Back in 2018, Australia helped shape their early public image. Huge crowds showed up during that tour, and media coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Some even called it one of the most successful royal tours in recent history. Because of that history, expectations for this trip were already extremely high. Carefully planned appearances, exclusive events, and buzz around Meghan's work were all part of the plan. But everything shifted almost overnight. Now the spotlight isn't on her advocacy or the retreat alone. It's moved hard in another direction. The focus is now on how her plans were exposed, how people are reacting, and what the fallout from this leak could become. Critics didn't wait a second to jump in. Social media filled up fast with posts questioning the retreat's price and calling out what some see as a gap between empowerment messaging and the exclusivity of a luxury event. Memes started spreading everywhere. Viral tweets took over timelines. Commentary videos dropped almost instantly. It shows how fast public opinion can flip online. One unexpected detail, and the whole narrative shifts within hours. Some observers now believe the leak could completely overshadow the retreat, and for them, the timing couldn't be worse. Instead of headlines about growth, networking, and empowerment, the focus has switched to transparency, privilege, and access. At the same time, reports suggest Meghan and Harry's team understand how serious this could become. Insiders claim the trip is being reviewed closely, with possible changes to schedules, guest lists, and event details to avoid adding more controversy. But here's the problem. No one knows if those changes will actually calm things down. That uncertainty is keeping the tension high and the story moving fast. And beyond the immediate drama, this situation points to a bigger issue that keeps following them. It's the challenge of balancing intention with public perception in a world where everything is constantly being watched. Because now, even the most carefully planned event can turn into a major debate the second private details go public, and once that happens, it spreads fast. Meghan has spent years building an image around advocacy, empowerment, and charity work, and those themes show up in her speeches, appearances, and projects. But in today's media space, every move gets examined closely, especially something as high profile as this Australia trip. Even a small detail, like a leaked email or ticket price, can explode into a major talking point. At the same time, media and commentators don't treat these moments separately. They connect every new headline to past projects, from documentaries to interviews and previous appearances.
Expert Richard Kay has claimed Princess Diana was preparing her younger son, Prince Harry, to be the king, preferencing him over the shy Prince William, who Diana felt wasn't interested in the top job. Kinsey, look, we have a lot of respect for the late Princess Diana in this country, but man, did she get that one wrong.
Yeah, I'm allergic to this story. Are we really expected to trust her judgment? Diana died in the backseat of a car with a guy who was engaged to another woman. Another one of her ex-lovers wrote a tell-all about her titled Princess in Love, airing all of their dirty laundry. Prince Charles, period. I mean, I don't even have to go into that one. Her poor judgment in men should be studied in classrooms. Harry is right where he should be, taking pictures with paying customers like he's Mickey Mouse.
Critics argue the couple often operates in a space where influence and controversy sit side by side, and that's exactly why every move gets analyzed so intensely. Because of that history, this Australia trip isn't being seen as just another event. For many observers, it feels like the latest chapter in a story that's been building for years. Every appearance involving Meghan and Harry gets picked apart piece by piece. People look at the messaging, the setting, the guest lists, even the smallest behind-the-scenes details, trying to figure out their priorities and intentions. But despite all the criticism, supporters are still standing firm. Many argue that high-profile events like this retreat are necessary. They bring attention, attract funding, and highlight causes that might otherwise be ignored. From that view, the exclusivity and scale aren't problems. They're part of the strategy to create bigger impact. And that's exactly why this debate isn't slowing down anytime soon.
Around $3,000. So she'll need to sell out that event because the optics would be terrible if she didn't. But also with Harry, he'll be doing a mental health speech on workplace mental health in Melbourne while he's here. And again, tickets for that are around $2,000. All proceeds go to charity. But they are now commercial and private citizens, as they say. So it's a very different landscape. And there will be comparisons when they're here to that big trip for the monarchy 8 years.
Supporters also believe that celebrity visibility can amplify important conversations and push real change forward, and that's why they continue backing events like this. But this is where the divide becomes clear, and why the story keeps gaining traction. On one side, supporters see strong advocacy and smart use of influence. On the other, critics argue the reality doesn't always match the message. That tension has followed Meghan for years, and now, with the leaked email, it's back in the spotlight in a major way. Another factor making things even more intense is the international angle. Australia isn't just any location. It has a long and complex connection to the British royal family, and visits involving former senior royals always draw attention. For Meghan and Harry, this trip is more than just attending a retreat. It's a closely watched appearance in a country where their last visit created huge excitement. Back in 2018, massive crowds showed up, and media coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Because of that, expectations for any return were already high, and people are watching closely again. But now, everything has shifted fast. Instead of the spotlight staying on the retreat or Meghan's plans, the focus has moved straight to the leaked email and the reaction around it. Observers say that while some fans are still interested in the luxury side, a huge wave of attention is now locked on the leak, the backlash, and the possible fallout. Every tweet, every comment, every headline is adding fuel to the story, and in today's fast-moving online world, that momentum builds quickly. Reports suggest Meghan is fully aware of how sensitive this situation has become. The leak shows just how easily private details can go public and how fast the narrative can flip away from the original message. Insiders claim this is already affecting how her team is handling things. Communication, planning, and logistics are now being reviewed closely as the trip gets closer. The goal seems to be keeping everything controlled and focused, but right now, that's not easy. Because after this leak, all eyes are watching, and the tension keeps rising as people wait to see what happens next. So how are Meghan and Harry actually going to show up during this visit? Will the retreat get adjusted or completely rebranded to calm the noise? Even people who weren't paying attention before are now pulled in, with comments ranging from guesses about their motives to bigger debates about privilege, transparency, and what's real. This conversation is moving fast. Every new update adds more heat, and as the trip gets closer, the pressure keeps building. One question keeps getting louder. Can they control the situation, or will that leaked email end up defining the entire visit? That uncertainty is what's pulling everyone in. Right now, every move they make is under a microscope, and even the smallest detail can explode into a major headline overnight. All the pieces are now lined up: the leaked email, the luxury retreat, the intense online reactions, and their long, complicated public history. It's turning into a story that feels unpredictable, high stakes, and impossible to ignore. One thing is clear: this Australia trip is no longer just another appearance. For a lot of people watching, this is turning into something bigger, a real test of image, control, and influence in front of a global audience. If you want to see how this plays out and what happens next, make sure you're subscribed and stay locked in.